Kia ora and welcome to the CoreLogic Property Market Update for Hongongoi, July 2024. Brought to you by Loan Market. The Aotearoa property market remains in a weak patch, as values took a further downward step in June. Nationwide values fell by 0.5% over the month, the largest drop in a year, culminating in a 0.8% decline since March. Each of the main centres recorded flat to falling prices over the month, with Ōtautahi, Christchurch and Ōtepoti, Dunedin experiencing no change in June, the best performers. Meanwhile, Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland's negative turn was prolonged, down 1.2% over the month, taking the quarterly fall to negative 2.6%. The weakness experienced in our largest city comes as somewhat of a surprise, given it often leads the market recovery, and will have benefited from such strong migration into the country. However, it's likely a reflection of affordability challenges across the spectrum of buyer groups. The proportion of average income required to service a mortgage, at 55%, is a constraint to new entrants. While the raft of regulatory changes that should improve the financials for property investors will take some time to have a meaningful impact, likely when paired with interest rate falls. Auckland has also been at the forefront of the rise in available listings on the market, which gives buyers the pricing power, and of course there's still a steady stream of new builds being completed too. The Housing Minister's ambitious Going for Housing growth strategy is laudable and hits on most of the core issues, namely freeing up land supply for a longer horizon of growth, both up and out, intensifying housing near current infrastructure hubs, and removing minimum size requirements for apartments. Plenty of the current challenges will remain, including the high cost to build, the funding of infrastructure to support the growth in housing, and the role of social housing amongst it all. But they've all been acknowledged by the Minister in his far and deep-ranging plans to significantly improve housing affordability across the country. I wouldn't expect much impact in the short or even medium term, but it's all laid out for a pretty transformational vision of change for the industry. It should result in more properties being built of different shapes and sizes in places where people want to live. In addition to factors such as the debt-to-income caps, this is another reason to think future house price growth might run at a lower average rate than the past. Checking in on the cost to build, and we did get news of the first quarterly drop in the Cordell Construction Cost Index in Q2, the first one recorded for at least 12 years. The 1.1% decline in the costs to build a standard single-storey, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom brick and tile standalone dwelling is a clear reflection of the downturn in the construction industry. It's an industry that has likely worked through much of the strong pipeline of work from the last few years, and is now in an environment of reduced demand, resolved supply chain disruptions, slowing wage growth, and flat or reducing material costs. Still falling building consents don't bode well for the future pipeline of work. They're down almost 30% from peak, but there are anecdotes of the toughest times being behind us. All that's needed now is an improvement to credit conditions to help businesses and borrowers alike. Suddenly, that improvement doesn't feel too far away, with many economists pulling forward their forecast of rate cuts, amidst the struggling economy, softening labour market, and expectations of inflation to further ease. The Reserve Bank don't release their updated forecast until next month, but their latest monetary policy statement cut a much softer tone than previous, a potential sign that they're seeing and acknowledging previous tightening is having the desired impact. This should mean that as long as future CPI inflation results, as well as GDP and employment, are as or better than expected, mortgage holders may even receive an early Christmas present from the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee, a cut in November. There's plenty of time between now and then though, so to be sure that you stay on top of all the latest housing market activity and macroeconomic insights, follow our news updates on the CoreLogic NZ social channels, including LinkedIn, Instagram, X or Facebook. Don't forget to download our latest monthly chart pack and subscribe to the New Zealand Property Market Podcast on all good podcast players. Mā te wā.